did it! We managed to get one of the new figures from NECA. Man, was it a struggle? Yes. 3 stores? Yes. And none of them have a vendor, so... Oh, Cora. 3 stores to finally get some stuff. I got a few things, but this was definitely on there. No accessory set yet. Maybe soon. Got a friend that made comments in the last video. Thank you. Who also happens to have the same first name as me, so Jonathan, thank you. But let's just figure out if this thing was worth the hassle, all right? He's big, he's bad, he's a toy. So let's jump right into it. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new stuff from NECA, from the files of Pizza Squad. They always have some interesting, fun titles on there. But looking at the box, he's got this very RoboCop inspired design. And not only will you see that in his design, look at the back of the box. Look at that. That is RoboCop. Come on. That is exactly what RoboCop does in a pose. But looking at the front of the box, we've got classic turtles in all their multiple colors, which was, you know, how a lot of the marketing worked for the turtles, even though you can't get them in the 4 various colors. I really hope that they come out with a set that is like that. But on the side of the box, we've just got the same stuff. We've got a volume 9 on the side, like it is a VHS, a collector's VHS cover, which is generally, I think, what the front of these are from, right? Is that right? Or am I just kind of inspired? Whatever. Top of the box, Turtles. Bottom of the box, the good stuff to people like me who really care not only about listing what the accessories are called, and I love that there are VHS tapes here, but the bottom of the box with NECA I love because, look, I really like knowing who's involved from every step of the way, from the sculpting and all of that. So thank you. Now looking at the back of the box, you've got traditional there to get a little bio about the figure. So obviously he opens up in the chest area, looking real nice. We've got maybe a new figure in the works, we'll see. And then a couple of product shots. So looking real nice, I'm a fan already. We open the box, we've got this nice product shot on the side here, and then, what is this? Is that the portal that we're getting? And then we've got the figure itself, look at that. Oh man, I love it. But I hate plastic windows for reviews because we get glare, and that's no fun. So let's open it up and see what we got. And the sleeve on this one is just a nice backdrop of the city, which looks like diorama pieces, actual diorama pieces. Rex-1 looking real nice, man. I am pretty excited about this. I hate these plastic ties though. I hate that we went back to that. Give me like 10 minutes and I'll be right back. Oh boy. So this is fantastic looking. I'm loving it already. And this is a style of taking a toon thing and bringing it into this 3D sculpted world that I actually really like. I love when there are the black outlines like this. So what do we have in here? Let's go over it. We have 2 blasters, an oil can, remote control. We have a tongue, VHS tapes, and 7 interchangeable hands plus the 2 that come on him by default. And then of course, Rex himself. So that's a little overview. Let's talk about the details. So not uncommon for brands to have these kind of mirrored versions of hands, but you can see all that line work looking really good. The sculpt work is nice, and it's actually cut down into that top part of the hand. These flat hands, which are kind of like a halt, stop hand. Again, looking really nice. Excellent paint work, and the line work is fantastic. Open hands. Again, a lot of the same stuff, nothing, just different shapes, but I really like how they worked all of these fingers, right? That's really nice instead of just being flat. And then this one, which holds a nut, which I'm sure is very specific to an episode that I definitely don't remember. Downside is you can see the white piece that is built in to the fingers to help mold that together. It's not painted gray in those little white bits, but you know, there's some little sloppy bits. It's overall good, and again, not really that bad when you're looking at it in person, but when I shove it up the camera hole, it does look worse. And then we've got this communicator. What did I say it was called? The remote control. Looks nice. I loved all the little green bits and pieces in there. That top piece looks like the green you would have on older digital items like that, right? You'd have like maybe black fonts or a brighter green font on top of that dark. Great details. It all looks like it's hand done. I mean, all of that looks like somebody just hand painted it. Kind of makes it sloppy sometimes, but it helps because, you know, the cartoon was hand drawn. So whatever, we're getting all those little weird things you would get in a real cartoon. So The blasters looking nice, pretty simple, but I'm sure incredibly accurate to the show, as they always do with a lot of their stuff. We got the can of oil, as it clearly states. We've got the details are just very nice. It's very simple, but it works really well. We've got his tongue, which has these little grooves in there, so I assume to help kind of lock it in place once you slide it into position. So we'll see what that looks like later on. And then the VHS tapes, they're all the same thing, but this whole figure's worth it just for these guys. I wonder what's on there. Episodes of what? Murder, She Wrote or something? But look at that, I love it. Oh God, it's just like all the details of an actual VHS. There's that nostalgia behind the tape is wonderful. And on to the thing that you're all probably really here for, Rex. Look at that. My God, and it's heavy. It feels top heavy, as you would expect because of, you know, how chunky he is up there. So I hope that doesn't cause any problems with posing and different articulation issues, but we're talking about details, so shut up and get into details already. So we've got awesome work around the face and stuff, but again, it all seems like it's really hand done. So the black outlines around the glasses, a little rough on this one, but the sculpt work and the paint work, of course, is fantastic. I'm always really impressed with what NECA does. The only thing I don't like about the animated stuff is just the two-tone thing that everybody does, the cell shading. You don't need to do that because it's going to be in real natural shadow. Maybe we wanted this to be the bright blue because he's facing away, whatever. We got what we got, but it still looks good and I'm still happy about it. But I love all the little detail pieces. I mean, coming from a flat animated thing, you get a lot of 3D sculpted pieces that look fantastic. So not surprised. Again, I think NECA really does an excellent job with this stuff. If you move his mouth down, you can see how that tongue's gonna go in there, so pretty straightforward. You can open up these panels and see so much more inside. Look at all that. That is a lot of detail that could have just been left shut and people probably would have been okay. It would be nice to have, but they put it there, and I'm not gonna be mad about going the extra mile. Why would I be mad about that? I'm not a jerk. Looking down the legs, so again, the two-tone cell shading is just black on the back and then the dark blue on the front half. But details, man, always fantastic, especially for, I mean, it's an animated thing. How do you get this much detail? Bottom of the feet, we got peg holes, so thank you. Love me some good peg holes, because sometimes you just have to have them. Those are the details. Let's look at articulation. So starting at the top of the head, you can turn it to the left and to the right. You can technically get it all the way around, but it kind of wants to snap back, so there's like a little spring action going on. Not sure what is preventing that or what's going on in there. And then as far as looking up, it doesn't. And looking down is pretty good, because you do want him looking down at whoever he's encountering, turtles probably. So looking down is probably more important than looking up. He's got that mouth articulation that's technically there, which is really, I think, just for the tongue. So looking at the arms, we got out into a T pose. You can see these gigantic ball joints in here with the hinges. So you can see that these biceps are gonna rotate, which is great. And the shoulder also rotates. They're just gonna be a little tight because of the paint. You can see there's like a gloss finish going on under here. It's a little tight, but you can spin those around, which is good. Bicep swivel goes pretty much all the way around, no problem. We got a single jointed elbow, but it's very natural into the shape of this figure because he's got this, you know, obviously rounded spot, but it feels like yeah, there's a hinge. He's getting just about 90 degrees, a little light of that maybe, and then twisting around the wrist, no problems, and then, which also feels really tight. And again, I'm sure just because of the paint, but you can get it, just work it a little bit. Like I've said in other videos, you need to sometimes warm these joints up. I pretty much never do with these reviews because it's all fresh out of the box, and if I break it, I should have known better. And then obviously we got the chest, which technically is articulation. We've got the torso, which rotates a little bit, but because there's a square thing here in a hole, a circle, square in a circle, you're not gonna be able to get great range, but you can force it. So you could turn him sideways, but you're kind of just gonna scratch your plastic, which I'm pretty sure I just did on the inside, but it's high enough up. We've got some crunch going on that's just ever so slight down and back. So yeah, you can see how much is going on there. And then a little bit of wobble. The legs, can he kick out? Yeah, I think that's gonna be just fine. So he can kick straight out and then backwards. Not too bad, pretty natural with the cheeks in the way. Can we do any splits? Wow, yeah, so the little blocks here that the guns are gonna attach to, you would think are gonna prevent it, but they're flexible, and you can go full splits, which was actually very much a surprise. And you can see the joints that are going on here. So full rotation around that, it's just gonna be the limit of whatever's touching, but you could definitely move that around however you needed to. So everything's just rubbing together, but you can move a lot more than you might think. And then the knee is just a standard 90 degrees, nothing special there. There's nothing rotating down the leg. We've got the foot, which goes up just a little bit and down just ever so slightly. So not a lot of range in the legs because of that, and the feet technically have some kind of like swivel thing going on there, but there's a lot of limitations. They don't really do a whole lot. You can't turn them left and right, which does seem like a missed opportunity, but he's just gonna be a stiff standing guy. He's not gonna have a whole lot to do, I think. So to continue articulation a little bit, we'll consider putting this tongue in his mouth, which is also pretty straightforward, and those ridges really help. So you can get the tongue out, and I don't remember why his tongue would come out in the show, but it does if you want it to. The guns, they have like a little flange or whatever you want to call that. So it's gonna lock right into the side of his holsters, I guess you could call those. So that's easy enough. The hands are just gonna pop out. They're just standard pegs, as we can see from the extras here. But all that paint does make for some of this to get a little tight. So that's it. Getting a hand on the gun is also very straightforward. Everything moves and flexes just enough, and his finger is shaped just perfectly to get onto that trigger. So nicely done. I'm a fan already. I am curious though what this is gonna be like for posing and the overall rating of this thing. So stick around, let's see if he's worth that price, because that's a nasty price. Let's get into posing. So this is fantastic. I'm really enjoying this. This is a big figure. It's definitely the biggest, I think, out of the cartoon line, even over Toko and Razar. Or Razar? Doesn't matter. Let's not get into that. You can actually kind of recreate the front of the box if you wanted to. The hand works best upside down like that, but he can do it. He can actually hold a turtle while he's standing, and he doesn't need any additional support, which is awesome. And I really appreciate the wrists that they actually, for the guns, you have the vertical hinges, I guess you would say. So if you wanted to point, these things will rotate. Again, it's tight, but let me just take it out. But this wrist is different, so you can actually rotate it up and down if you needed to, which is cool, and not often the case with a lot of brands. But there we go, he's looking good. So let's get into rating him. We're gonna talk about details first. Of course, details are spectacular, and I think that I am willing to bet that this looks different on every single one, and I love that. I think that the touch of like it looking and feeling like it's hand drawn and hand created is awesome. So if that is different on every single one, even better. Imperfections make this thing perfect in that sense, because it feels custom in a way, or like you've got an original piece of art in a way. So details, we're gonna give it a 5 out of 5. It's gorgeous. Of course it's perfect, right? I mean, there's some imperfections, but those imperfections make it better, in my opinion, because it's an animation to whatever. Let's get into articulation. Is certainly limited. There's a little bit more than I would have expected, I think, based on images and seeing him online and stuff. The joint that's going on in the hips, I am a little worried about sometimes. Like, it starts to feel like this outer one is wrapping a little bit around that ball joint, and then it gets a little tight, and I'm like, oh God, is it gonna break? So be a little careful with that section. But overall, Articulation, give it a 3 out of 5. I think that's really generous and fair. There, like I said, some limitations, mostly in the legs and the elbows and stuff, but for what he is and how big he is, that's pretty solid. Posing, and posing was actually pretty fun. Again, limited because of the legs, so we'll give it a 3 out of 5 on posing. It's still really fun. You can do some cool stuff with it, and he does look best in that RoboCop pose. I think that's just the one you gotta go with, unless you're gonna have him hold a turtle. Looking at him, man, it's honestly better in person than I thought it was gonna be. This was one that was like, oh, it's awesome, but you know, I don't, whatever. But now I got him. Is he worth it? I wish he wasn't the price he is. That's a little expensive. If he was cheaper, I would say he's definitely worth it. But we're already getting into some of these like 2-packs that are $60, which again is actually fair. $60 for a 2-pack is a good price because mostly when they do a single figure, they're $32, $34, or $37, which is why this one feels a little rough to be priced at $50. So I definitely wish he was cheaper, but you know, you got to do what you can do. And if this is a must for you, then yeah, I think you're gonna be happy by the end of the day when you get that thing home for $50. I just wish he was cheaper, man. So I'm gonna say, is he worth $50? If you're trying to complete the line and you're die hard or you love this character, then probably worth $50. For the rest of us, $40, $45 maybe? Come on. It's just getting a little crazy. There's not that much more plastic on him with the accessories and stuff that you would get from other figures where sometimes it just doesn't make sense. He's cool, he's awesome. He's got VHS tapes in there, so maybe those are worth $10. I'd buy 3 VHS like that for $10. So maybe, yeah, we figured it out. But I hope that you have success and that you can either just walk into a Target and find it. If you can't, then watch my videos about the best course of action to do that. I have a video about the Haulathon and what you can expect and best practices and all this stuff. So I have videos and a whole playlist about NECA and events and stuff. So if you need something, comment below. I will help you find out that answer or send you into a direction of a video that I've already made. But I hope that you have success and you're able to get all the figures you want. And I'm sure we're all trying to get that accessory pack, which has been the hardest thing to get. I haven't found that personally in any store yet. But let me know down in the comments if this is a figure that you gotta have on your shelf. And I know if you're a completionist to the series, he's obviously gonna be there and you're gonna be really happy that he is there. But if you're just trying to pick and choose some of the best items, is this one that you think you need? But if you enjoyed this review, I am asking you kindly to take the time and watch that review right there because it's another one that I did. And who doesn't want to watch another one that I did? I don't know what that means. We'll see you next time.